Good morning, children.
Good morning, ma'am.
Last day we completed cardiac cycle, the different phases included under cardiac cycle, and somebody had promised that he will summarize it today, no? Yes, Michael? I haven't forgotten. So please start. So we'll begin with Michael summarizing the points. You're ready, Michael?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay.
So cardiac cycle starts with all chambers of the heart in a relaxed stage, joint diastole. So first, the bicuspid and tricuspid valves open, and so blood flows into the left and right.
Are you reading, Michael?
No.
Okay.
Left and right atrias and ventricles. Then the
No, that point was not clear. Bicuspid and tricuspid valves open.
Then blood flows into all the four chambers of the heart. Then say
from the atria, they'll be flowing into ventricles, and then
the SAN generates action potential, which causes the both atria to undergo contraction.
What do you call the stage?
Atrial systole.
Okay, then
the AB and ABL bunches gather the action potential to the two ventricles.
Which all you just specified once again? The one which was generated in SAN will be conducted by
the AVL and AV.
AVN and AV bundle.
Bundle through the bundle of this.
Yes. Then this will make which chamber to contract?
It makes the ventricles to contract.
Yes.
While the atrias relax.
Then then last. Now ventricle has contracted. Now what is the next stage? When the ventricles contract, atria will relax. That is, atria will undergo systolic stage. Now followed by.
So the bicuspid and tricuspid valves will close. So blood will flow back into the atria.
Blood flows back. Wait. Blood flows back.
It won't flow.
Okay. Great. Then.
And the semilunar valves will open. So the blood flows through the aorta and pulmonary
artery. Okay. Now again.
When the ventricles relax. That's ventricular diastole.
Then what will open now? Which all valves will get opened now?
The bicuspid.
The bicuspid and tricuspid valves will get opened, and the cycle gets repeated again. Anyways, good, Michael. Then what happened to you yesterday? Don't repeat it, okay? If you feel that you are not able to get proper attention, then just leave me a message, go drink some water and come back, as you always used to do. That was for some other purpose, but anyways, let us continue, children. Is there any other doubt? Any doubts you have from what Michael said? It was like a recapitulation for you also. You people are saved today because of him. So this I can ask anyone to repeat. The next day I can ask anyone to summarize. So shall we continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So that is very important. Just now, what we have completed, that is cardiac cycle is very important. With the help of the diagram, you can be asked to explain it. It can come for 5 marks as an essay question. Now moving on to stroke volume. What is stroke volume? The volume of blood pumped out by each ventricle during a cardiac cycle, and it comes around 70 milliliters. 70 milliliters of blood will be pumped by each ventricle, and that volume is known as stroke volume. So we have two ventricles, right and left ventricle. Right ventricle will be pumping the blood to lungs. whereas the left ventricle will be pumping blood to different parts of the body. So each ventricle will be pumping almost 70 milliliters of blood, and this is known as stroke volume. Okay, so what is stroke volume? Stroke volume is the volume of blood pumped out by each ventricle during a cardiac cycle. In a single cardiac cycle, the volume of blood pumped by not both the ventricles, each ventricle. Cardiac output. Cardiac output means the volume of blood pumped out by each ventricle. So the first part of the definition is same, but the only difference is in the last part. In stroke volume you said it is the volume of blood pumped out during a single cardiac cycle. But here that is calculated per minute. Every minute how much volume of blood is pumped by each ventricle, that forms the cardiac output. That is stroke volume into heart rate. You know that one heart rate is equal to one cardiac cycle, and 72 times is on an average. So 72 into 70. 70 is the stroke volume, and into heart rate, that is 72. On an average, even though it ranges between 70 to 75, on an average it is 72 times per minute. So 70 into 72, you will get 5,000 milliliters or 5 liters, approximately 5 liters of blood, that is cardiac output. Stroke volume is 70 ml, and that is the amount of the volume of blood pumped by each ventricle during each cardiac cycle or during each heartbeat. But if it is calculated per minute, then you call it as cardiac output. That you can find the value by multiplying 70 into number of times the heart beats per minute, or number of cardiac cycles per minute, that is 72. When you take the average, it is 72. So 70 into 72, approximately 5 liters of blood. So that is cardiac output. Is that clear? The difference between stroke volume and cardiac output? Heart sounds. Next, we are going to learn about the two sounds that make up your heartbeat, or that is being produced by your heart when it is pumping blood. So if you can feel your heartbeat, or if you have heard someone's heartbeat, you can make out two sounds in that. Lup, dup. So that makes one heartbeat. Lup, dup, lup, dup. If you keep your hands on your chest region, if you can feel, there will be two beats. So two sounds are being produced. The first one is lup, dup, lup, dup. This sound gets repeated. And what makes this sound, or why this sound is being produced? It indicates the closure of valves. When the valves get closed, the sound is produced. The first sound, lup sound. Lup sound is produced when the tricuspid and bicuspid valves close. And dup sound is produced when the semilunar valves, that is aortic and pulmonary valves, close. You hear the dup sound. Lup and dup sound. During each cardiac cycle, two sounds are generated. The first sound is lup sound. It is due to the closure of tricuspid and bicuspid valves. And the second sound, dup, is due to the closure of semilunar valves. So single heartbeat consists of both sounds. A lup plus a dup sound together make up one heartbeat. Okay? Lup and dub. First it is lup, then dub. So what makes lup sound? The closure of tricuspid and bicuspid valves create lup sound. That's the beginning of systole. And then the end of systole and beginning of diastole, you can find the semilunar, or the semilunar valves get closed at that time, which will produce the dub sound. Together, one lup and one dub sound make up one heartbeat. You want me to repeat, or is it clear? Children, please respond.
Clear, ma'am.
Okay. Next, we are going to learn about electrocardiograph. Electrocardiograph or ECG. Have you heard about ECG?
Yes, ma'am.
No, yes, only Nandana is responding. What about others? ECG and EEG, have you heard? ECG and EEG. What is the difference? Can anybody tell me what is the difference? ECG. What you're going to learn now is ECG and EEG. ECG is electrocardiograph and electroencephalogram is EEG. What is the difference between these two? This one, the first one, ECG, it will record the electrical activity of a heart, whereas electroencephalogram will record the electrical activity of your brain. So that normal electrical activity can get fluctuated. For example, in case of some cerebral hemorrhage, bleeding in the brain, or in some epileptic patients, or when there is brain tumor, in such cases, the electrical activity of brain can get fluctuated from the normal level. So that you can understand with the help of EEG. Here we are going to learn about ECG. And ECG is meant for recording the electrical activity of a heart during a cardiac cycle. And the name of the instrument is electrocardiogram. And the reading what you get, the graphical representation what you get is known as electrocardiogram. Electrocardiogram is the instrument and electrocardiograph is the graphical representation. Graphical representation. Gram is the instrument. So once again, I will repeat, electrocardiogram is the instrument which will record the electrical activity of a heart during cardiac cycle. And upon recording, upon using this machine, you get a graphical representation of the electrical activity of a heart. And that graphical representation you call as electrocardiograph. Okay. To get an ECG, a patient is connected to the machine with 3 electrical leads. So for getting ECG, so once the ECG is being taken, so to this machine, or the patient will be connected to this machine with the help of 3 electrical leads, and 1 to each wrist and 1 to the left angle, and this will monitor the activity of the heart. Okay, this will help in monitoring the electrical activity of the heart, and sometimes multiple leads can also be used. So maybe they want to get a detailed information, then multiple leads can be attached to the body of the person. So these are some electrodes. Some electrodes will be attached to the body of the patient, and normally 3 leads are used, and they will be attached, one on either wrist and the other one to the ankle region. For a detailed evaluation of heart's function, multiple leads are attached to the chest region. So normally 3 leads are used. Multiple leads can also be used depending upon the requirement. If we need a detailed examination of the activity of the heart, accordingly more leads can be attached. So here you can see the picture of graphical representation of this electrical or this electrocardiographs. Picture you can see there, P wave, QRS complex, T wave. So these are the different parts or different stages, and in normal cases this will get repeated. So such a pattern, PQRST, this pattern will get repeated. Sometimes it can get fluctuated, as you can see in the figure. When the heart is beating faster, there is a difference. Slow heartbeat, there is a fluctuation. Irregular heartbeat. So from that, the doctors can compare with this normal one, and from that they will understand the fluctuation in the electrical activity of the brain. So P wave, QRS complex and T wave. So that indicate the different regions of a single unit of this electrocardiograph, and such figure or such graph will be getting repeated that is during a single cardiac cycle, and this keeps on getting repeated. And seeing the fluctuations in the normal electrocardiograph, or when a person is having some problem with the heart, or after a cardiac failure, or when they have some cardiac problems, so this can get fluctuated, and even at times of stress and strain, so due to different reasons it can get fluctuated, and the doctors compare with that of the normal one, and then they analyze the situation. Okay, once again, we'll just summarize what we learned. We were discussing about electrocardiograph. Electrocardiograph is the instrument used to obtain. See children, earlier I told electrocardiograph is the graphical representation and electrocardiogram is the instrument. That is what I said earlier. So just check here, there is a correction. Electrocardiograph is the instrument. So with the help of this instrument, we get a graphical representation. And this graphical representation is known as electrocardiogram. Okay. So once again, it is not electrocardiograph that gives you the graphical representation, but electrocardiograph is the instrument, the device used for recording the electrical activity of the brain. And the graph you get is known as electrocardiogram. Okay. The doubt is cleared. I told it, I mixed up and told it. I told electrocardiograph is the graphical representation, but electrocardiograph is the instrument or the device. With the help of that, the electrical activity of a heart will be recorded, and that graphical representation is known as electrocardiogram. And for getting this, the patient, some electrical leads will be connected, and one to either wrist and one to the ankle. And with the help of that, these leads means some electrodes are attached to the body of the person. And as and when it is required, so depending upon the requirement, doctors can attach multiple leads also, and in order to get a detailed information about the electrical activity of the brain. And as you can see here, you get in the electrocardiograph repeated waves you can find. So in each unit, if you take, you can see a P wave, a QRS complex, and a T wave. And P wave indicates the depolarization of atria. QRS, depolarization of ventricles, and the last one, repolarization of ventricles. So depolarization means it is during this phase that the atria will get excited and they will contract, leading to atrial systole, or atrial systole happens, and that is indicated by P wave. Then the ventricles contract or depolarization of ventricles, or ventricles undergo the systolic stage, they undergo contraction. So that is represented by QRS complex, which is followed by repolarization of ventricles. So that is indicated by T wave, where they get relaxed. Okay. Any confusion now?
No, ma'am.
The confusion between electrocardiogram and graph, I think it is solved. So that graph, because of that graph, suddenly I mentioned it like that. But graph, electrocardiograph is the instrument, and the graphical representation we get is electrocardiogram. Next, we are going to learn about double circulation. Double circulation also we have learned in detail in class 10. Double circulation means the blood is flowing twice through the heart in each cycle. In each cycle, the blood flows twice through the heart. You know that in birds, mammals and all, the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood will never get mixed up. So the blood is flowing twice through the heart. It's a circulation in which the blood flows twice through the heart for completing the cycle. It includes pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation. So together it makes double circulation. Pulmonary plus systemic together makes double circulation. So here you can see what is happening during pulmonary and systemic circulation, or what comprises pulmonary and systemic circulation. See, if you take the case of pulmonary circulation, it starts it is starting from the right ventricle. It's a circulation, pulmonary. The term, as you know, pulmonary is a term related to lungs. Pulmonary is the term related to lungs. So pulmonary circulation means here the blood is circulated between the lungs and the heart. And from the right ventricle, either you can see the flow chart on the right side or what I have written on the left side. From the right ventricle, you know, it is in the right ventricle, the deoxygenated blood is present. So from there, it will be pumped to the lungs via pulmonary artery. And then from the lungs, or in the lungs, the blood will be oxygenated. It will be loaded with oxygen. And from the lungs, pulmonary vein will carry oxygenated blood into left atrium. Once again, the deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle, you know, it is the right ventricle is having deoxygenated blood that will be carried by pulmonary artery to the lungs. In the lungs, they get oxygenated. Now, this pure oxygenated blood is carried by the pulmonary vein into left atrium. So that is known as, or this circulation or this pathway of blood is known as pulmonary circulation, circulation of blood between lungs and heart. And the next one is systemic circulation. As you can see in the figure, in systemic circulation, here the circulation is between the different body parts and heart. From the left ventricle, aorta will carry the pure blood into tissues, the different parts of the body. And in the tissues, the oxygen will get used up and it will be loaded with carbon dioxide, and this will be taken up by the veins like superior and inferior vena cava. Superior vena cava from upper parts of your body, inferior from lower parts of the body. It will be taken to the right atrium. So this pathway is known as systemic circulation. From left ventricle by aorta to different parts of the body, from the tissues, veins will, the inferior and superior vena cava will take it back to right atrium, which comprises systemic circulation. Systemic and pulmonary circulations together constitute double circulation. Once again, pulmonary circulation is a circulation which is taking place between the lungs and heart. Deoxygenated blood from right ventricle is carried by pulmonary artery to the lungs. In the lungs, it's oxygenated and this is brought to left atrium by pulmonary veins. By pulmonary veins, it will be brought to left atrium. And systemic circulation, as I told you, it's a circulation between heart and different body parts. Pulmonary between heart and lungs. Systemic between heart and different parts. Oxygenated blood from left ventricle. From left ventricle will be carried by aorta. To aorta first it will go. Then aorta is the largest artery. They'll break up into small arteries. Then arterioles, further smaller branches. Again, they'll break up into smaller capillaries. They will supply to the tissues. And from the tissues, deoxygenated blood will be first taken by the smaller branches, venules. They unite and form veins, a larger vein, vena cava, and they will take it back to right atrium. Okay? Oxygenated blood from left ventricle to aorta to different parts. So that's enough. But in between, they have mentioned arteries, arterioles, capillaries, all the branches also they have mentioned. Similarly, or deoxygenated blood from tissues to right atrium through veins, inferior and superior vena cava, but they have given all the smaller branches from tissues, venules, veins, then vena cava, and finally goes to right atrium. Then from right atrium, again pulmonary circulation takes place. Systemic circulation provides nutrients, oxygen, and all these substances. So when the blood is transported, when the oxygenated blood from the heart reaches different tissues, it will provide oxygen, nutrients, and all the other requirements to the tissues. And they will take up carbon dioxide and other waste materials from these tissues for eliminating. So here you can see the circulation taking place. Superior vena cava bringing blood, impure blood from upper part of the body, and inferior vena cava will bring impure blood from lower part of the body, and both will empty it into the right atrium. From right atrium, it will be going to right ventricle. From right ventricle, it is pumped into where? From the right ventricle to where it is being pumped, children?
Pulmonary artery.
Pulmonary artery. It will take it to
Lungs.
lungs for oxygenation. Any doubt? You want me to repeat any of the slides?
Ma'am, can you repeat systemic circulation?
Systemic circulation. Okay. Systemic circulation. Pulmonary is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In systemic circulation, the circulation is taking place between heart and the different parts of our body. And that is oxygenated blood from left ventricle. So the previous slide, it is a little more simple. See here you see systemic circulation. From left ventricle, aorta will take pure blood to tissues. From the tissues, veins, that is superior and inferior vena cava, will collect and pour it into right atrium. And there they have shown all the smaller branches, arteries, arterioles, capillaries, venules, veins. So that is why you might have got a confusion. But in simple terms, you can define it or you can explain it like this. From the left ventricle, aorta will take it to different parts of the body, and from the different parts of the body, the impure blood will be taken by the veins, inferior and superior vena cava, back to the right atrium. That is known as systemic circulation. Circulation between heart and different body parts, oxygenated blood from left ventricle to aorta. Aorta is branching into arteries. Arteries further branch into small arteries known as arterioles and minute blood vessel known as capillaries. These capillaries will supply the tissues, and from the tissues, impure blood, carbon dioxide and other substances, waste substances will be taken up by the venules, and venules join and form veins. They unite and form larger veins known as vena cava, superior and inferior. And this will be brought to right atrium. And once it has reached right atrium, then starts pulmonary circulation. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I think it's time. So we'll wind up. Any doubt? One more period we have. So that time I'll ask you questions. Just read and come. If any point,
Just one point I needed.
Yes.
I got it. The two sounds were there, right, for the heart, lub, and the second sound, there was a point.
Semilunar valves, when they close, it will produce the dub sound.
Okay.
Lub, dub. Okay. So lub sound is produced when the first two valves, that is tricuspid and bicuspid valves close. That sound we hear as lub sound. Then it is followed by the closure of semilunar valve. Semilunar valves means two types are there, pulmonary and aortic valve. When they close, the dub sound. So each heartbeat will have one lub and one dub sound. Okay, Steffi?
Okay.
Yes? Okay. Okay, children, thank you. See you next period.